Welcome to Derby Reach, British Columbia, guys. We're checking out a really exciting full suspension electric mountain bike. This is set up for trail riding with 140 millimeters air suspension front and rear. This is the Orbea Rise H30. Now there are a couple of other H models in the Rise lineup, including the H15 and the H10. They get progressively nicer components. The H stands for hydroformed aluminum alloy. All of them come in 3 different colorways. I'm really liking this sort of a matte satin mouse gray with sky blue accents, but they also have like a dark metallic gray and then an orange and black. It comes in 4 frame sizes and has an approachable standover height, especially for a 29er because of this slope angled top tube. If you want to go even lighter than this and kind of even fancier, you can go for the M series. So there's an M20, M10, M-Teen, and M Limited, ranging from $7,400 to $11,600 USD. Along with the carbon fiber frame upgrade, you also get a different battery pack. So it's actually a lower capacity battery. This one right here has a 36 volt, 15 amp or 540 watt hour battery, and it's built directly into that down tube. It's not easily removable. So this is the kind of e-bike where you'd have to drop that bottom bracket to take it out to do some replacement. So if you're someone who's flying or you're traveling, that could be an issue. Or if you're someone who can't really fit the bike inside, maybe you're parking it in a hot or extremely cold garage, you just need to be close enough to a plug that you can charge the bike regularly. And since you can't take the battery off, if you're commuting, you know, again, it's not really a commuter, but I just want to call that out. The battery is not easily removable. It limits some of your charging options, but they do have an optional 250 watt hour battery, kind of a range extender bottle design. It reminds me of the 2014 Prodecotec Scorpion and more recent Specialized Turbo SL models that all offered some sort of externally mounted water bottle shaped battery pack. I would love to know if the bike could be run completely off of this range extender or if you have to keep that main battery in at all times. The battery charger is really nice. There are no dongles or adapters you need. It does weigh a little bit more at 1.8 pounds. It's kind of bulky. You can remove the wall side plug, but it puts out 4 amps, so it fills this battery pack really quickly. It's above average. As you might expect, the bike comes with a nice manual, good documentation, a 2-year comprehensive warranty, and Orbea offers a lifetime frame warranty to the original owner if you register it. I'm going to zip through the rest of the specs here. We've got 29ers, so 29 by 2.4 tires, Maxxis, dissector up front, and Recon in the rear. The dissector has more space between these big knobs, and so it's really going to grab and give you excellent traction. There's less space back here. Maybe there's more surface area, and there tends to be more weight on your rear wheel, so that's going to give you that extra grab as you're propelling the bike forward. You can set this up with different size wheels. You could do a mullet setup with a 27.5 inch in the rear. You could also do plus size tires versus the 2.4s. Race face wheel set, very nice. The boost hub spacing with 15 millimeter with quick release up front, 12 millimeter through axle in the rear. Split pivot rear suspension design, swing arm. We've got Fox float, 140 millimeter adjustable air suspension for the rear. It's got 3 clicker positions for compression as well as rebound. And then up here, this was kind of new to me, the Marzocchi. I wasn't as familiar with this brand, but apparently it got sold to SR Suntour, and now I think it's part of the Fox family. It's just their lower priced equivalent. Right there, we've got a 32 tooth narrow wide chainring from Raceface aluminum alloy. The narrow wide really grabs the chain and it's just going to reduce slop. It's excellent to see that, but we also have that plastic guide, so that chain is not going anywhere. I love this long rubberized slap guard. It's going to keep that paint looking beautiful. And in the rear, we have a 12-speed cassette, really wide range of teeth, 10 to 51 tooth, excellent Shimano SLX derailleur with the clutch, so you can lock this. It's going to tighten that. You're not going to get as much chain bounce. Love to see that. 165 millimeter crank arms right here, lightweight. They've actually got a plastic protector at the end, and then these pedals do not come with the bike. They were just popped on for this demo. The bike does not come with pedals. I love the internal cable routing on this bike. You can see them protruding right here at the middle. They're not getting in the way at all. It's just clean. Obviously, it's a purpose-built bike. We do have a tapered steer tube up front, and we've got a 35 millimeter bore handlebar. So it's kind of the new standard, a little bit thicker, higher performance. The grips are nice. I think these are actually part of the Orbea family. They're the OC brand, flat, rubberized. They've got an inner lock ring. The trigger shifters here, Shimano Dior. They've got a little bit of a traction or kind of a grip on them. And then we've got a two-way high lever and multi-shift low lever. I like these two-way shifters because I tend to use my thumb to shift while my pointer finger and middle finger are on the brakes. Some of the lower end Shimano shifters, you have to use your trigger finger. Most of the SRAM ones, you use like only your thumb. So for me, great part. I'm glad they went that way. And on the left, we have that mechanical dropper lever right here to operate the dropper post. 40 millimeters of travel on that. And then we've got a physics saddle, which to me is kind of hard. It's called the Taiga. I don't personally love it, but maybe if I was wearing some actual biking shorts with some padding, it would feel a little bit better. It's a little bit sloped. The brakes are 2-finger Shimano hydraulic disc, 180 millimeter rotors, front and rear with dual piston calipers. This is one of the areas you can upgrade, go for 200 millimeter rotors. You get a little bit more mechanical advantage and cooling just up front, and then quad piston calipers to give you more surface area and braking power. When you're ready to turn the bike on, just reach down here and press the power button. The display boots up very quickly. You may be familiar with this display if you've used electronic shifting. 5 ticks on the battery bar infographics. You get 20% increments, not quite as precise as I'd like. We're in off in terms of assist right now, and then we've got our current speed in kilometers per hour. Now, with the button pad on the left, all you can do is change the levels of assist. So I'm going from off to eco, that's the lowest, trail, middle, and boost in the highest. All of these levels of assist, they feel very natural and dynamic. The motor controller is measuring your rear wheel speed. You can actually see the magnet that's connected to the hub right there. So it's not one of those spoke magnets that can get kicked around and dirty and, you know, out of place. It's measuring your pedal cadence and pedal torque dynamically. It's a really fluid feeling. It's very natural. However, there is no shift detection on this system. Hopefully you're a decent rider and you recognize to kind of ease off, and the torque sensor is going to pull back on the motor and then shift gears. Otherwise, you could really be putting some strain on the cassette, the chain, and the derailleur. And again, that's it. If you want to change the readouts on the display, you have to press this little circular button, which is not easy to do if you're actually riding. And again, I wish there was a button here on this button pad. This changes from your current speed to trip distance, odometer, range, 58 kilometers on full capacity here, ride time, average speed, max speed, cadence, which is very cool. This is a high cadence mid-drive motor, so you can go above 120 RPM and it's going to keep up with you. It actually has a really nice sweet spot. I tend to be a fairly aggressive pedaler, and if you're someone who is approaching a hill, you tend to shift down to prepare for it. The motor's not going to leave you hanging. And then clock, and then we're back at the beginning. So lots of great feedback. The display is pretty small, so when you're way up here riding, you know, I'm not sure it's the easiest thing to see. The app complements this, but it's the kind of thing where you set the app up and then you probably just toss it in your backpack. And I think they are trying to go minimalist here. You really see that on the M series, the carbon fiber ones, which don't even have this display. They just have that junction box with an LED readout for charge level. If you want to adjust more settings, just hold that little circular button. And then the menus include clear, clock, light, beep, so you single beep at you if you want, units, language, font color, so it kind of inverts things. Right now there's a black background. Adjust, shift timing, assist customize, RD protection reset, that's rear derailleur, display speed. So I was adjusting the display speed thinking that would help filming. Then assist customize is pretty cool. So I'm there, I'm gonna press the circle button again, profile 1, profile 2, so I can actually adjust those right here on the bike, even if the app isn't out. Profile 1 is more subtle. It's designed to help maximize range, and it's not very satisfying for climbing, especially. Profile 2, that offers up to 60 Newton meters of torque. It's their RS Rider Synergy mode, and especially for the heavier aluminum alloy versions of this bike, that's the mode I would leave it in. Before jumping into the ride test, I do have a couple of considerations and trade-offs I noticed. One of which is a little bit of this like motor knock or kind of some slop in there for the EP8. It's not just this motor, it's all of the Shimano EP8. I don't think it's a deal killer, but I see it come up on forums and other videos. People talk about how you're pedaling, and if you're in these rollers and stuff, you kind of get this like slop or a little bit of like clunk inside. I also feel like this is a trade-off. The power button's way down here instead of up here. I mean, we do have a button pad. It'd be nice if there was a power button on top. And maybe one of the final considerations for me is that the charging port is down here on the left side. It's directly in the path of that left crank arm. And so if it's plugged in and the crank arm gets bumped, it just feels like it could get yeah, I mean, you know, kind of broken off potentially. I do really like the cover. It feels like it's water sealed. There's a little grommet, rubber grommet. It clicks into place. You actually have to push up in the bottom to release it. It's very well done. It's just, not only is it low on the frame, but it's on the non-drivetrain side. And this bike doesn't have a kickstand, so when you lay it down, it could be exposed to rocks and stumps and stuff. Just like the derailleur, I always feel like it's best to have the charge port on the right-hand side of the bike. I'm in the highest level of assist. I pedal along gently. You'll notice that the motor doesn't really respond because it is measuring torque. So just give it a little bit more pressure. Very nice. Of course, it handles very stable. Those 29ers give you a lower attack angle, so it tends to feel smooth. And it's, again, it's fairly stable even though it's running 2.4 versus the plus size tires that we've seen on some of the older e-bikes. This gives you a little bit more precision, saves some weight. Well guys, that's it. I hope I filled in some of the gaps on the Orbea Rise series. Again, 7 models. It's pretty cool. They've got carbon, they've got aluminum. Very interesting that they've got different battery capacities for these, and I love the range extender concept. Thank you to City Cycles for loaning me this demo bike and all the other people who did great reviews. I really enjoyed Flyride's electric bikes. Also, Vital MTB has a good one. And if you want all the technical kind of geometry comparison between the Rise and the Levo SL, check out the Lone Wolf. I've measured all the specs for this thing by hand. Again, 46 pounds. I've got the standover height, the length, the width, everything back at ElectricBikeReview.com, including a comparison tool, so you can look at this back to back with like the Turbo Levo SL. I've also got some forums so you can see what other people think. I love you guys. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.